Get edified. Time to edify the Lord's name, man. We'll go over the Feast of Purim today. Just so happened, I left my notebook at home. But it's okay. That is okay for me leaving my notebook at home. Good thing that I know a little history, so all praise to the Most High. We'll dig into it. Yeah, we'll definitely dig into it. I wish I would have poured this water in a solo cup. Shalom, shalom, family. I sure left my notebook at the house. Matter of fact, I ain't leave. Look, I got a notebook. I didn't get the right one, so that's okay. All praise to the Most High for that. All right. All praise to the Most High for that. All right. You ready to do it?
Yes, sir. Let's rock.
First precept we going into. Let's go to the book of Esther, chapter 1. Let's start at verse 1.
The book of Esther, chapter 1, verse 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. This is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia.
Read.
Over 107 provinces.
So he reigned over 127 provinces, right? Read.
That in those days, when the king Ahasuerus sat
Ahasuerus
sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the palace. In the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto the princes and his servants.
Right, read.
The power of Persia and
Media. Come on, Persia and Mede.
Come. And the nobles and the princes of the provinces being before him.
So it says, in that 3rd year he reigned, he made a feast unto all his prince and the servants. The power of Persia and Media, right? So this was in what captivity?
Persia and Mede.
That's simple, right? It give you point blank where it was, right?
God.
Read.
When he shewed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days.
So they had a big long feast, right? Read.
And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people.
So now, after he made a feast for his kingdom, now he made a feast for his people. Jump down to verse 8.
Verse 8. And the drinking was according to the law.
Right. So now he even made the law. He made it lawful for them to drink. Right. Read.
None did compel. For so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house that they should do according to every man's pleasure.
So he's supposed to be doing according to every man's pleasure, meaning he wanted them to have a good time. Right? But watch how it happened, though. Read.
Also Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to King Ahasuerus.
Right? So they made... So they made a feast unto, right? They made a feast unto the king, man. And while they was having this feast, guess what happened? He wanted his queen to come over for everybody to see it, right? But he's gonna explain it, right?
God.
Watch how he talk. Jump down to verse 11. Appreciate that. You can leave right there, cuz. One time them signings be coming, man. Okay.
Okay.
Y'all keep a roll up here.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Verse 11.
Yeah.
To bring Vashti, the queen, before the king with the crown royal. To shew the people and the princes her beauty.
So they want, King the king, he wanted to bring Vashti in front of all the people because he thought his wife was a nice looking woman, right? Said he got a nice looking woman. He want to show her off, man. Right? This is what he wanted to do, right? And he said bring her. He said bring her with the crown royal, right? And this ain't the crown royal that Officer Bearkite like. They got that crown royal in their feast day, man. Right? I hope he on that mud too. Tell me ain't that crown royal Officer Bearkite like. Right? But watch this, read on.
For she was fair to look on.
Because guess what? He wanted to show off because she was a nice looking woman, right? Read.
But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment.
So Vashti, she didn't want to the king told her to come. She didn't want to come, right? Watch this, read.
The king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth.
So the king got mad, right? Read.
And his anger burned in him. Then the king said to the wise men which knew the time.
So he said to the wise men which knew the time, what'd he say?
For so was the king's manner towards all that knew law and judgment.
So he wanted to show her off, but she didn't come. So when she didn't come, what you think happened? Yeah. At the king, what's the precept at the king's commandment? What happens at the king's commandment? Let's see what brothers and sisters know. Say at the king's commandment. What happens at the king's commandment? Let's see who brothers and sisters tune in. What happens at the king's commandment? It's a precept said what happens at the king's commandment. See how much brothers and sisters know. What happens at the king's commandment? Yeah, tonight actually starts Purim. Destruction of Nicanor. But we celebrating tomorrow before the sunset, all the way going in. So we celebrating really going into 2-0, right? So what happens at the king's commandment? Let's see what happens.
Second Chronicles.
There's a lot of stuff happens at the king's commandment. Let's see what brothers and sisters know. If I want to give you that. Let me see. Nah, that ain't what I want.
Second Chronicles 24:8.
We'll read it.
And at the king's commandment, they made a chest and set it without the gate of the house of the Lord.
No. Okay. This is actually, when I actually this, it says at the king's commandment. This goes into the power of the king.
Okay.
So to give you a context of what I'm saying. What happens at the king's commandment? I got you. See, it's in Proverbs. Bear with me. It's on this side of the page. I ain't the water cap. What did it say? Precisely. What did it say?
Nehemiah 11:23.
What did it say?
That was when they had that little function.
Little function?
Yeah, function.
I can't see. Let's see though.
Book of Nehemiah, chapter 11, verse 23.
No,
it was the king's commandment concerning them that a certain portion should be.
That's not it. Watch this.
You said some Proverbs?
Yeah. I be forgetting how slow these phones, Samsung phones be.
Oh, boy.
I be forgetting how slow these Samsung phones is. I be forgetting how slow the Samsung. Come on, Samsung. Slow, man. Slovakia. That might have been it, though.
Was that Nehemiah 11?
No. Let me see. The last time. Shalaki, brothers and sisters, y'all gotta bear with me. I told you I left my swizzle. Let me see. They said I should have just read down. Let me see. Verse 8.
I see the king's wrath.
Let's go to Ecclesiastes 8. We should just read down. Let's start at verse 2. We're going to read down.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8, verse 2. I counsel thee to keep the king's commandment, and that in regard of the oath of God.
In regard to, it said, I counsel thee to keep the commandments of the king. Commandments of the king. Right? But watch how it gives a better understanding. Right? But read.
Be not hasty to go out of his sight.
Uh-huh.
Stand not in an evil thing.
Stand not in the evil thing, read.
For he doeth whatsoever pleases him.
And that's what he said, the king doeth whatsoever pleases him, right? Mm-hmm. But watch this, read.
Where the word of a king is, there is power.
So this is why it's easily to, like when the king asks him to do something, it's why it's easily to piss him off, right? He asks his fair looking wife to come out to let everybody, you know what I'm saying, check her out. She said no. Right? But let's read some more.
And who may say unto him, what doest thou?
Uh-huh.
Whoso keepeth the commandment shall fear no evil thing.
It says, read that part again.
Whoso keepeth the commandment.
Go up a little bit more.
Oh, verse 4. Where the word of a king is, there is power.
Uh-huh.
And who may say unto him, what doest thou?
So who must say what doest thou? Like that's what she said. That's basically what King Ahasuerus, that's basically what his wife was saying. Like, man, I'm not finna come. Mm-hmm. Meaning like she was gonna go against his command, right? But read on.
God, whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing.
Right, read.
And a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment.
Right, read on.
Because to every purpose there is time and judgment.
Right.
Therefore the misery of man is great upon him.
Right, read on.
For he knoweth not that which shall be, for who can tell him when it shall be?
Right, read on.
There is no man that have power over the spirit to retain the spirit, neither have he power in the day of death.
Right.
And there is no discharge in that war.
It says no discharge in that war, read.
Neither shall wickedness deliver those that are given to it.
So guess what? Just thinking about how a person, like when you dealing with a king, like the power that the Lord put in the king's hand, right? He got the might to do basically whatever he wanted to do. So by him having that might to do what he wanted to do, then it allows him to make decisions that you probably won't agree with, but he's going to fulfill those decisions, right? Let's think about how the policies are in America. We don't agree with all the policies, but you're going to live by them. Well, guess what? We don't. Guess what? Guess what? Us that's keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. We don't agree with We don't agree with nothing's going on in America. We don't agree with they holidays. No nothing. But I guarantee you one thing: Israelites, you ain't walking around in jail, so you got to be keeping some kind of laws of the land, right? Let's go back to Esther's, man. All right. And we read verse 13. Let's read verse 15.
Verse 15.
Vashti, yeah.
The book of Esther, chapter 1, verse 15. What shall we do unto the queen, Vashti, according to law?
According to law. This is what we was talking about, how the king, he puts the laws down, right? He said, what should we do to Vashti according to law? Read.
Because she have not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlain.
So she didn't do what was required of it. So guess what happened? They counseling together. And big con on that. We finna pull that next. So she commanded, Captain Yard pulled a great precept. We're gonna pull that damn show next. So she was commanded by the king's chamberlain to come out because the king commanded the chamberlain to tell her to come out. Right? Let's read on. Watch how it go though.
Verse 16. And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen had done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in the provinces of the king Ahasuerus.
Right? So they telling the king, like, look, he said, she ain't just do you wrong, she did all of us wrong. Because if she don't listen to you, she not gonna listen, then the people not gonna listen either. Right? But watch how it go. Read.
Good. Verse 17. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women.
So now he said, look, if she can do that and be out of order, now guess what? All the rest of women can see that she can be out of order too. Right? Let's read.
So that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes. When it shall be reported the king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not.
So King Ahasuerus, he just like, you know what? They said you did that, and so she ain't gonna do it. What you think all the rest of the women gonna do? Right? Read.
Verse 18. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say say this day unto all the king's princes which have heard of the deed of the queen, thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath.
Right, so it's gonna be too much contempt and wrath, man. They're gonna buck the system because they see how she bucked the system up, you being the king of running things. So what you think the women gonna do when they see this? Right?
Good.
So read on.
Verse 19. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persian and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she.
So guess what? They took her position. Since she didn't want to do the right thing, guess what happened? They took her position.
Oh. That's what Mordecai said, though. Never mind. Whatever. It's like you.
Right. Jump down to verse 22.
Verse 22. For he sent letters unto all the king's provinces, into every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house.
Every man should bear rule in his own house. Read.
And that it should be published according to the language of every people. Right.
So guess what? He wrote a law out for that, but this is basically what we supposed to be doing in our home house too. I mean, our law states that we supposed to rule our own houses too, right? But hey, being there, the state of a place that we in, a man don't get a chance to rule his house. Esau rules your house, right? You got to think. Esau rules your house with government assistance. They rule your house with food stamps. They rule your house with the police and the fire department and everything else. Police can come up in your house. Only thing she got to do is call the police on you. The police come in your house, and the police will put you on the floor in front of your woman, and you can't do nothing about it. The police come put your children in handcuffs, and you can't do nothing about it. CPS come get your children. You can't do nothing about it, right? Right? But so now a man can't bear rule in his own home, though, right? Let's jump over to chapter 2 in verse 5. Matter of fact, jump over chapter 8 and verse 8. I'll get a precept that back up what we was talking about earlier. But it's kind of a little chilly in here, ain't it?
Yeah, crept in, unaware.
Dang, getting there.
The book of, the book of Esther, chapter 8, verse 8. Write ye also for the Jews, as it liketh you, in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. For the writing which is written in the king's name and sealed with the king's ring may no man reverse.
So that's letting you know when he make a decree, that's where it's at. It can't be reversed, right? Right? What do you think they got that from? Let's go to Numbers chapter 23. Watch what this say. It started verse 19. Numbers chapter 23 and verse 19.
The book of Numbers, chapter 23, verse 19. God is not a man that he should lie, neither is the Son of Man that he should repent. Have he said, and shall he not do it?
Right, so if the Lord says, shall it not be done? Read.
Or have he spoken, and shall it not make and shall he not make it good?
So have he spoken, and shall he not make it good? Read.
Behold, I have received commandment to bless, and he have blessed.
And what happened?
And I cannot reverse it.
You see that? Saying the same thing. That's the same thing. So they let you know that, man, when the Lord put a person in power and they speak a word, it can't. Guess what? It can't be reversed. Right? It's only that person. It's only the Most High God has the power to reverse and reverse things. Right? But he does it on his time and not how he want to do it. Right? Let's go back to Esther. We're going to chapter 2. In verse 5.
The book of Esther, chapter 2, verse 5. Now in Shushan, the place where was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite.
So Mordecai was a Benjamite, read.
Who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away.
Right, read.
And he had brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter.
He brought up Hadassah. Boy, you gonna have to boy, I'm gonna step.
I might need to get me some reading glasses.
Boy, you gonna have to do something, man. What's up with you tonight, my boy?
Hey, bro.
Dang it.
I might need me some reading glasses, bro.
So he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, right? For she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when the father and mother was dead, took for his own daughter. You see how they go? Brother was in the right spirit. Guess what? Beautiful little young girl, he raised up to be a beautiful young woman. That's how we roll, though. That's how Israel roll, man.
That's what we're supposed to.
That's how we supposed to do that, man. Right? Let's read it, though.
Verse 8. So it came to pass when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also into the king's house to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the women.
So now the king, they seen how beautiful Vashti was. They brought her in with the rest of the women, because not Vashti. They seen how beautiful Esther was. They brought her in there with the rest of the women, right? But watch this. Let's jump down to verse 10. Watch this.
Verse 10. Esther had not shewed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had changed her.
No.
Charged her.
Read that again. Well, I'm trying to tell you. I'm about to give you these.
Nah, not that purple on them. Esther had not shewed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not shew it.
Because guess what? Mordecai was in the right spirit. He was being led by the Most High God, man. So when Mordecai was being led by the Lord, it was a reason for him to tell her not to do that, right? Because sometimes you make a decision and you wondering why, like, dang, why did I make this decision? But when you being led by the Spirit, you know why you make certain decisions. And it's going to, further down in the story, it's going to tell you why you made that right decision, right? But read on.
Verse 11, and Mordecai walked every day before the court of the woman's house to know how Esther did and what should become of her.
So he wanted to see every day, after he seen that she entered into the king's custody, meaning that she ends up into the chamberlain of women, right? He always kept they always kept a group of women that they raised up to show, what you call it. He always raised up a group of women, and they kept them 6 months out of the year to do this and 6 months out of the year to do that, so they can get them prepared to be in front of the king, right? They was trained, what you call it, trained to be in front of the king. They knew all the rules and everything to sit right here with the king, right?
Like pageantry or something.
Huh?
Like pageantry. Like teaching them how to perform in front of the king.
King etiquette.
Yeah, like a king etiquette type of deal, right? On verse 12, y'all make sure you write this down beside this. You write 12 months in a year. This is how we know it's 12 months in a year, on verse 12. We always use this on verse 12 to show, like CC Junior, like a charm school or etiquette school, become, right? Jump down to verse 16.
Verse 16. So Esther was taken unto King Ahasuerus into his house royal in the 10th month, which is the month of Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign.
The 7 years of reign, read.
And the king loved Esther above all the women.
So he loved Esther above all the women, read.
And she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins. So that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti.
So he made her queen instead of Vashti. Now, in this manner right here, this is where we use for a virgin, a young woman of marital age. She is a young woman that had now had sex, but she also is a young woman of what? Marital age. All right. Let's read.
Verse 18. Then the king made a great feast unto all his princes and his servants, even Esther's feast. And he made a release to the provinces and gave gifts according to the state of the king.
Right.
And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gate. Esther had not yet shewed her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, like as when she was brought up with him.
So she, meaning what? When Mordecai told her to do something, she did what she's supposed to do. She had respect unto Mordecai decision because Mordecai raised her as his father. I mean, like he was, like she was his daughter, right? So when he told her to do something, she got up and did it like she's supposed to do, right? Watch this. Read on.
Verse 21. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, two of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth and sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus.
So they start to lay hands. These are turning points in the story. So you got to make sure that you hit these key points, right? First deal, the first point of the story was what? You seen King Ahasuerus, he had a feast day. He had a feast. He got married, got full of wine. He wanted to show Vashti off to the people. Vashti didn't want to come. Now, so since Vashti didn't want to come, all the people, all the chamberlains, they came over to him and say, look, man, if you let this slide, everybody gonna think you weak, basically. So he took the crown from her, and now he started to get these women together, and he started to get these women together. So now he want to get to take her place. He found favor in Esther, and so now he took the crown off of Vashti and he gave it to Esther, right? Jump up to verse 12. I want to read that because that's significant to what we're going into too. Because like you say, when you dealing with the king, you got to make sure that these women, it's called a purification thing, but it's really, like you say, it's going into an etiquette or charm school. But read verse 12.
The book of Esther, chapter 2, verse 12. Now, when every maid's turn was come to go in to King Ahasuerus, after that she had been 12 months according to the manner of the women.
So 12 months according to the manner of the women, meaning charm school or it's the etiquette school for a year. Rashi read.
For so were the days of their purification accomplished, to wit, 6 months with oil of myrrh.
So it means they 6 months with oil of myrrh. Rashi read on.
And 6 months with sweet odors.
Sweet odors, read.
And with other things for the purifying of the women.
So this is why I say you go your 12 months, right? You go 6 and 6 months. This is what they it's basically going into the breakdown of a year, right? But it's showing you how they did their purification. They oiled them with, meaning basically they pampered them and they treated them, right? And had them with great smells and had them,
living lavish.
Right, living lavish, man. Right? Had them straight living lavish. Right? But let's jump up. Let's jump back down.
22.
22.
All right, the book of Esther, chapter 2, verse 22. And the thing was known unto Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen. And Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name.
So, and Esther certified the king in Mordecai's name. Read.
And when the inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore, they were both hanged on a tree. Right.
So they went over there and they hung them two dudes on a tree that was trying to plot to kill the king. Right.
Yeah.
And guess what happened? Mordecai, hey, that's how he found favor with this. The first strike to find a favor with the king. Right. Watch this.
You want me to finish it?
Yeah, finished it out.
And it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king.
So he said it was written in the book of the Chronicle before the king. Before we leave out chapter 2, let's jump over the rest of Esther's in the Apocrypha, man. Go to chapter 11 and verse 1.
The rest of the chapters of the book of Esther, chapter 11, verse 1.
Verse 2.
Verse 2? Okay. In the second year of the reign of Artaxerxes the Great, In the first day of the month, Nisan,
read.
Marshadocious, the son of Jarvis,
This goes in Mordecai, man, read.
the son of Shimei, the son of Sisai, the tribe of Benjamin.
They'll let you know it's the same person, right? Read.
Had a dream.
Had a dream, read.
Who was a Jew and dwelt in the city of Susa.
Yeah, this goes in Shushan right here, right? It's just written in the Greek, man, in the Hebrew, right? Read.
A great man, being a servitor in the king's court.
They'll let you know the same thing. It's just going back and forth to the story.
That's what you're saying.
Right? So these things just saying, like I say, in those days, like when you go to chapter 2 and verse 21, it say in those days while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, the two, you see how they go, right? So he basically just was a keeper basically at the door. And he found that these two people, you know, he basically just like a person just watch out for the king, but he was really watching out for his, he's really watching out for his daughter, right? Which was Esther's, man, right? But read on.
Verse 4, he was also one of the captives which Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, carried from Jerusalem with Jeconias, king of Judea. And this was his dream.
All right, but read on.
Behold, a noise of a tumult with thunder and earthquakes and uproar in the land.
Right.
And behold, two great dragons came forth ready to fight, and their cry was great.
And the cry was great, read.
And at their cry, all nations were prepared to battle, that they might fight against the righteous people.
Right.
And lo, a day of darkness and obscurity, tribulations and anguish, affliction, and great uproar upon the earth.
So this is what we finna get ready. We finna get ready and go into this, right? We finna get ready to go into this. It's gonna be a great tumult. It's gonna be thundering and lightning. All these things, he said, and their cry, all the nations were prepared to battle, and that they might fight against the righteous people. Who was the righteous people they was gonna fight against? The children of Israel, right? This goes, like you say, this goes directly one and the same into this story, man, right? Let's go back to, we gonna be going back and forth, right? So let's go back to, let's jump down to chapter 3 and verse 1.
Esther, chapter 3, verse 1. After these things did King promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite.
Let me see.
If I'm saying that right, Agagite.
Yeah, Agagite, read.
Yeah. And advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him.
So this goes into wait a minute. Go to chapter 12 and verse no, we ain't gonna touch it yet because I wanted we can't. Let's go to chapter 12 and verse 6 for the rest of the Esther. Because it's gonna go into that.
The book of the rest of Esther, chapter 12, verse 6.
Man, somebody I'll tell y'all in a minute.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
Howbeit, Haman, the son of...
Now, this goes into the same person. He's saying Haman right here, but it's Haman right here when we read in Esther's chapter 2, right? Chapter 3. Read.
The son of Amatheus, the Agagite.
The Agagite saying the same damn thing, right? Read.
Who was in great honor with the king, sought to molest Marshadocious and...
Where you at? Okay. Marshadocious means Mordecai, read.
Yeah. And his people because of the two eunuchs of the king.
So who was the two eunuchs of the king that it was talking about?
Those two chamberlains that got hung?
Those two chamberlains that got hung. Right? So we just basically going right into the storyline. If you'd have read up, it said, and Mordecai took his rest in the court, and they gave the two dudes' names right here. Right? It's
So the chamberlains were eunuchs?
Yes.
Okay, come.
Right. It just basically just goes into this, right? So let's go back to chapter 3.
Come.
Shalom. Officer Berakaya, man. I had a joke on you, man, earlier, Officer Berakaya. Shalom, done.
Coming to read Esther 1 and 11.
Hey, Officer Berakaya. Read that Esther 1 and 11, man. They had that crown royal, man. They had that crown royal like a mother. That's 1 and 11. They ain't 1 and 11.
Yep.
Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had that crown royal, man, and they Esther 1 and 11, ain't it? Look at her. Oh, man.
All right. The book of Esther, chapter 3, verse 2. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman.
Mm-hmm.
For the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence. Verse 3. Then the king's servant, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, Why transgressest thou the king's commandment? Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman, to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand. For he had told them that he was a Jew.
So he told them, so now he letting them know, look, man, you know damn well we can't bow down to y'all. You know what I am, right? I'm telling you what I am. You know I can't bow down to you, right? Read it.
Come. Verse 5. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then Haman full of wrath. Then was Haman full of wrath.
So Haman full of wrath, right? Read it.
And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone. For they had shewed him the people of Mordecai.
So they showed him Mordecai people, which was what? The Jews. Right, read.
Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai.
So they were finna kill all the Jews that were with King Ahasuerus, right? They wanted to kill all the Jews, right?
God.
Jump over to rest of Esther chapter 13. We're gonna jump down. Verse 13 and 3. And it's gonna go a little bit detail, but we're gonna go back.
God. The book of Esther, chapter 13, verse 3. Now when I asked my counselors how this might be brought to pass, Haman, that expelled in wisdom among us and was approved for his constant good will and steadfast fidelity, and had the honor of the second place in the king.
So this is who? Who we reading about?
Haman.
Haman, right? He had second place, meaning he had power with the king, right?
God.
But read.
Declared unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people that had laws contrary to all nations.
So what was the law contrary to all nations? One of the laws was what we couldn't bow down to them, right? And now Haman saying that he thinking it's a problem, right? But let's go ahead and read.
And continually despise the commandments of the king. So as the uniting of our kingdoms honorably intended by us cannot go forward.
See that? Because even back then they was trying to unite the kingdoms. Right? They said we can't push our kingdom forward if they don't give in to this. What do you think is happening now? If we don't give in right now, they can't unite right here. This is not the United States if we don't unite with them. How can this be the United States if we don't unite with them? Right? But I can tell you how they do. They make us get down and lay down, right? Well, let's read some more on. Watch how I read.
Verse 5. Seeing then we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition unto all men, differing in the strange manner of their laws,
Right.
and evil affected to our state.
So they were saying that if you let them get away with this, it's gonna be an evil affecting to our state, right? Watch how I read.
Working in all mischief, they can, that our kingdom may not be firmly established.
Right? So he said our kingdom won't be firmly established, right? I'm talking about they saying it's strong though. Watch this. Jump back to chapter 3. We're gonna read verse 8.
The book of Esther, chapter 3, verse 8. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people.
You see how they go? Saying the same thing, right? Read.
In all the provinces of thy kingdom.
Of all the provinces of the kingdom, read.
And their laws are diverse from all people.
Saying the same thing, right? Read.
Neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer them. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed. And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business.
Right.
To bring it into the king's treasuries.
Right. Verse 10.
Verse 10. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the Jews' enemy.
They call this dude the Jews' enemy, right? So the king made a decree on that, but he still don't know that his wife, that he still don't know that Esther is what? An Israelite. We're going to jump down to verse 14.
Verse 14. The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, that they should be ready against that day.
Against that day, read.
The post went out, being hastened by the king's commandment.
Read.
And the decree was given in Shushan, the palace, and the king and Haman sat down to drink. But the city Shushan was perplexed.
And why was they perplexed? Because guess what? You had the Jews among all people. And guess what? The decree went out for to do what?
To kill him.
To kill him.
And plus, Haman got everybody riled up.
Right? And he did. He got it. And that was his whole plan. To get everybody riled up, man. Right? Jump down. Go to chapter 4. We're going to read verse 1.
The book of Esther, chapter 4, verse 1. When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes.
And put on sackcloth with ashes, read.
And went out into the midst of the city and cried with a loud and a bitter cry.
Right, read.
And came even before the king's gate, for none might enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth.
Right, so guess what? Nobody can come up in the king's gate with sackcloth because you had to do what when you go to the king?
You had to greet him.
No, you had to. What's that in 2 Kings? Let's see if I can get it in 2 Kings. See if I got it. What you have to do when you go to see the king? What you have to do?
Bow down, kiss his hand.
No, I'm talking about as far as your look.
Oh, you got to be dressed to impress.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what precept though? 15. Let me see.
Oh,
yeah.
So that's where they get that Sunday's best and all that stuff. You got to be dressed up to church.
I
In
don't
a
say
sense, if you're going before God. I'm reaching.
Give me the precept of when they shave. That's what I want. When they shave. They shave the corners of they shave their beards to see the king. that we can groom. Basically, we can groom. I need that grooming precept in it's either in the Kings or Samuel. I need that grooming precept. Give me a grooming precept.
Isaiah 7:20.
Isaiah.
No.
That's not it, bro. Find it. 2 Samuel 10:4. That's it. That's what I'm looking for. I was looking at First Chronicles. First Kings. Second Kings. Let's read that.
So the 2nd Chronicles.
Yeah. 2 Samuel 10:4.
2 Samuel 10:4. All right. The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 10, verse 4. Wherefore Hanun took David's servant and shaved off the one half of their beard, and cut off their garments in the middle, even to their buttocks, and sent them away.
So, I mean, this is close, but I think it was something else I wanted, man.
Nah, I think I know what you're talking about. When they had to like be groomed or something before
Yeah.
they get in front of them.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So I'm trying to find that one.
But that's what we use. This is the precept we use for sagging.
Yeah, because they had just disrespected David people in a big way.
Bro, I'm going to tell you though. That's a good precept, Jonathan. But I'm going to tell you. This is how important the beard was to our people. Read verse 5, though.
Verse 5. When they told it unto David.
So when they told it what happened, when they told they told David what happened, watch this, what happened.
He sent to meet them.
He sent to meet them, read.
Because the men were greatly ashamed.
It was greatly ashamed for them to shave their beards off, right? Just think about that. Right, read.
And the king said, tarry at Jericho until your beards be grown.
You see that?
God.
It was a shame for us to even shave our beards off, man.
They shaved off half. They had them boys looking crazy.
No, that's a goatee.
Oh, they gave him a Captain Morgan.
Well, you see that?
Jeez, that's disrespectful.
That's disrespectful, man.
And then cut out the back side of their garment with it. But
Yeah, bro. They had them sagging, bro. That's a sagging precept.
That's crazy work, bro.
That's it. Officer Berakaya. Go to 2 Samuel 19 and 24. That's it, Officer Berakaya. That's what I'm looking for.
The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 19, verse 24. And Mephibosheth, if I'm saying that right, it's like it.
Misfit, the son of Saul.
Yep, the son of Saul came down to meet the king and had neither dressed his feet.
So guess what? He came to see the king that neither dressed his feet, read.
Nor trimmed his beard.
Nor trim. You see how that you can trim it. You can't cut it out, but you can trim it, right? Neither trimmed his beard, read.
Nor washed his clothes. From the day the king departed until the day he came again in peace.
Right, so he was supposed to, when you go see the king, you supposed to do what? Get yourself in order, man. You can't just go around the king looking all.
Yeah, it's like an insult or something.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to dress up. Yeah. 1924. That's what we want. Let's go back to Esther chapter 4. Esther chapter 4, and jump down to verse 8.
The book of Esther, chapter 4, verse 8. Also, he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at
Shushan. Come on now.
Shushan, to destroy them, to shew it unto Esther,
Right, read.
and to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go in unto the king, to make supplication unto him, and to make request before him for her people.
Right.
And Hatat came and told Esther the words of Mordecai.
Right. And just remember, Esther was, when Mordecai said something, Esther listened. But watch this, read.
Again, Esther spake unto Hatat and gave him commandment unto Mordecai.
Right.
And the king, all the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death.
Right? Because she understood the laws of what?
The laws of the land.
The laws of the land. That's what they was grooming her for in the house.
God.
She said, if you had to go before him and if you had to go before the king and the king didn't call you, you can get put to death. Right? This is one of the laws of the land that she had understood. But read.
Except such to whom the king shall hold out of the golden scepter, that he may live. But I have not been called to come in unto the king these 30 days.
Right? She said, I had not been called unto the king. I got 30 days before I can go see him. Right? But they didn't have that much time. Why? Because Haman put out a decree to go kill him. Right?
God.
But read.
And they told to Mordecai Esther's words. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape the king's house more than all the Jews.
Right, read.
For if thou altogether holdest thy peace,
He said, if you hold your peace, read.
at this time,
Read.
then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed.
Right, he said, you can't escape judgment either. You a Jew too. Don't forget this. Right? Go ahead.
And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this?
He said, for such a time as this, you need to be trying to get this thing together. Go back to Esther's, man, chapter 3.
Okay.
Chapter 3. Esther, chapter 13, Shalaki. And we're going to jump down to verse 13 and 8.
Okay. The book of Esther, chapter 13, verse 8. Then Mordecai thought upon all the works of the Lord and made his prayer unto him.
So guess what? While he was getting ready to go charge Esther, he was going to do what? He had to go make a prayer to the Lord about this because he seen what was happening, what wicked Haman was doing.
God.
Right? But read.
Saying, O Lord, the King Almighty, for the whole world is in thy power.
He said the whole world is in your power. Read.
And if thou hast appointed to save Israel, there is no man that can gainsay thee.
Right? So he said, Lord, if you say that Israel can be saved, it's nobody can stop you.
God.
Nobody can talk against what you say. Right? Read.
God, for thou hast made heaven and earth and all the wondrous things under the heaven.
Right? Read.
Thou art Lord of all things, and there is no man that can resist thee, which art the Lord.
So he said no man that the Lord created, meaning he created all men. And nobody can resist your will. That's what he talking about. Nobody can resist thee. Nobody can resist the Lord's will, right?
God.
But read.
Thou knowest all things, and thou knowest, Lord, that it was neither in contempt nor pride.
It's neither contempt nor pride. Read.
Nor for any desire of glory that I did not bow down to proud Haman.
Right? So guess what? He said, Lord, you know, it wasn't nothing, no pride on me that I didn't bow down to him.
God.
Right? While he charging Esther, he still, he coming to the Lord. He going to the source, and the Lord is guiding Mordecai to what he need to do, right? So he can be able to get our people, man, in saved out of his captivity, man. Read.
For I could have been content with goodwill for the salvation of Israel to kiss the soles of his feet.
Right, read.
But I did this, that I might not prefer the glory of man above the glory of God.
You see that? He said, I didn't bow down to him because I didn't want to prefer the glory of man. I want to prefer the glory of God. Right? Read.
Neither will I worship any but thee.
He said, no, neither would I worship in no other man but you. Right? Read.
O God, neither will I do it in pride.
He said, neither will I do it in pride. I found that precept in Sirach chapter 39 and 18 too. But go ahead. No, we still reading though.
Come. Verse 15. And now, O Lord God and King, spare thy people.
He said, now, Lord the King, spare thy people. Read.
For their eyes are upon us to bring us to naught.
He said, their eyes are upon us, meaning what? He said, to bring us to naught, meaning what?
They ready to kill him.
They was ready to kill him, man.
Come.
Right?
Yea, they desire to destroy the inheritance that hath been thine from the beginning.
He said, yeah, they trying to destroy the inheritance that the Lord gave from the beginning, man.
Come.
Right?
Despise not the portion which thou hast delivered out of Egypt.
He said, despise a. Read that again.
Despise not.
He said, despise not the portion. Read.
Which thou hast delivered out of Egypt.
He said, which thou delivered out of Egypt, man. Read.
For thy own self, hear my prayer, and be merciful unto thine inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
Turn our sorrow into joy,
right?
That we may live, O Lord,
mm-hmm.
and praise thy name, and destroy not the mouths of them that praise thee, O Lord.
Mm-hmm.
All Israel in like manner cried most earnestly unto the Lord, because their death was before their eyes.
So he had to make that prayer, man.
Yeah.
Because the death wasn't before their eyes, man. Right? Read this Sirach 39.
That's that fervent prayer.
That's that fervent prayer.
That's that fervent prayer right there.
That's that fervent prayer. He had to.
Mm.
It's Sirach 39 and 18 right quick. Make sure you put a hole back on their Esther, because we going back over there too.
The book of Sirach, chapter 39, verse 18.
Mm-hmm. 18.
At his commandment is done whatsoever pleaseth him, and none can hinder when he will save.
This is going into King's commandment, right?
So that goes to that Ecclesiastes 8, 2 and 4, and Esther 8 and 8?
Yep.
All right, let me put that down.
Yep. Directly go with it. Right? It directly go with it. Let's go back to Esther's chapter. What we in chapter 4?
Ecclesiastes 8, 2 verse 4. 2 through 4. And then Esther's 8 and 8.
Yeah.
All right. You want to go back to Esther and Apocrypha?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm going to go back to Esther's in the... Yeah. 39, 18. Let's go back to Esther. What we at Esther? What we leave out? Esther chapter what? 4?
14 and 1 on the Apocrypha.
No, we back to Esther's chapter.
Yeah, 4 and...
We was in...
We're at verse 2, because you couldn't go in the king's gate with the sackcloth. That's what we were talking about that. Then you went and got the dress code we supposed to have to meet the king.
Big con.
So we're on 3, I believe.
Yeah.
We on 3?
Yeah. Yeah, because he came before the king gate, none may enter, and that's when you went into the precept of what we supposed to have on, because you couldn't go on.
And that was 3 and 2.
That was 4 and 2. And we're on 4 and 3 now.
Okay, let's go.
All right, the book of Esther, chapter 4, verse 3. And in every province, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, there was great mourning among the Jews, and fasting, and weeping, and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes. So Esther's maids and her chamberlains came and told it her.
Jump down to verse 8. Yeah, we didn't read that.
No, we didn't read verse 8.
Then jump down to verse 8.
All right. Verse 8. Also, he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that it was given at Shushan to destroy them to shew it unto Esther and to declare it unto her and to charge her that she should go in unto the king to make the we did read.
I know we did.
To make
jump down to verse 13.
Come.
Cause Mordecai checked her, man. Right? We just read that, man. We did. I know we just did that. I'm like, what the hell?
I thought we stopped at verse 3.
Heck no. We like on chapter. That's what I'm saying. We like on chapter 5.
I know what threw me off that we jumping back and forth, and it kind of threw me off. That's why I don't know.
Heck yeah. Well, I'm like, Negro.
The book of Esther, chapter 4, verse 13.
No, jump down to verse. Okay. Jump down verse 13, read that.
Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews. For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall the enlargement and the deliverance arise to the Jews from another place.
Right, read.
But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed.
Right, read on.
And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this?
So he said, guess what? I don't care about them 30 days. You know, such a time as this, you need to be stepping up to the plate, man. Read.
God. Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer. Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law, and if I perish, I perish.
She was willing to die for her country, man, for her people, man. Right? Go to Esther chapter 14 and verse 15.
She had to gird up her skirt. All right. The book of Esther, chapter 14, verse 15. Thou knowest all things, O Lord. Thou knowest that I hate the glory of the unrighteous, and abhor the bed of the uncircumcised, and of all the heathen.
Right, read.
Thou knowest my necessity, for I abhor the sign of my high estate.
Right, this is Esther talking to the Lord. This is her prayer, like going into her third day. This is one of the prayers that she's tapping into, right? Read.
Which is upon my head in these days, wherein I shew myself, and that I abhor it as a minstrel's rag.
That's right. She said, I abhor being here as a minstrel's rag, right? Read.
And that I wear it not when I am private by myself.
Meaning what? I'm not putting, he said, when I got to wear this in front of the king, I hate to wear these clothes.
God.
He said, when I'm by myself, I don't sit around here parade like this is super beautiful. No, I go by myself and I take these things off because I hate the glory of this kingdom, man. Right? Read.
And that thine handmaid have not eaten at Haman's table.
Meaning she was in the right spirit, like no, I'm not finna sit at the table and eat. This nigga might be eating all kind of pork and shit, right?
God.
Read.
And that I have not greatly esteemed the king's feast, nor drunk the wine of the drink offerings.
Right, so he said I never partake in none of this stuff that they did, right?
God.
Read.
Neither had thy handmaid any joy since the day that I was brought hither to this present.
To this present day, read.
But in thee, O Lord God of Abraham,
read.
O thy mighty God above all, hear the voice of the forlorn, and deliver us out of the hands of the mischievous, and deliver me out of my fear.
Right, so he said deliver. She's like, man, she praying tough, man.
Well, they got no prayer from prayer.
Right?
Man.
This is Esther's making her prayer. We seen how Mordecai made his prayer, right, for Israel. Now Mordecai went was sent to these messages back and forth to Esther. Now Esther making her prayer, right? These are people that's fervent in the spirit, trying to get these prayers up for the Most High, man. All right,
Locking in with the Lord. You want me to go back?
Go to chapter 5, verse 1.
Book of Esther, chapter 5, verse 1. Now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in her inner court of the king's house over against the king's house.
Right.
And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house over against the gate of the house. And it was so, when the king saw Esther, the queen, standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight.
So she obtained favor in his sight. Read.
And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter.
So we go back to 15 and 1 right quick. We just precepting back and forth on it. Right? Let's go.
Esther 15 and 1. And upon the third day,
saying the same thing. On the third day, read.
When she had ended her prayer, she laid away her mourning garments and put on her glorious apparel. So
she laid away her mourning garments, right? Now she because she was with the king, right? So she had to put on the her apparel, right? Read.
And being gloriously adorned after she had called upon God,
right,
who is the beholder and savior of all things. She took two maids with her.
She took two maids with her. Read.
And upon the one she leaned, and as carrying herself daintily.
Right, meaning that she trying to make herself look like she faint a little bit, man, like humbled, right? But it's gonna go into a faintness though. But read.
And the other followed, bearing up her train.
Meaning holding her dress up. Read.
And she was ruddy through the perfection of her beauty.
Right, meaning she was beautiful, man. Read.
And her countenance was cheerful and very amiable.
Right, read on.
But her heart was in anguish for fear.
So, but guess what? She was in anguish of fear, but she was keeping her composure, man, because she know she had the Lord on her side, man. Verse 6.
Then having passed through all the doors, she stood before the king, who sat upon his royal throne, and was clothed with all his robes of majesty.
Right, read on.
All glittering with gold and precious stones, and he was very dreadful.
So he was very dreadful. Read.
Then lifting up his countenance that shone with majesty, he looked very fiercely upon her. And the queen fell down and was pale and fainted. And bowed herself upon the head of the maid that went before her.
All right, read.
Then God changed the spirit of the king into mildness.
So he made the king have compassion.
From his throne,
he jumped down, read.
And took her in his arms.
You see that, man? The Lord made him go after her, man. Right, read.
Till she came to herself again, and comforted her with loving words, and said unto her.
Stop right there. Let's go back. I'm just kind of just going back and forth so we can see the narrative of the story. Right? You want to see the narrative of when it's saying that certain things is happening, what is happening during the story. Like, this just go further in detail. Right? That's all it's just doing, going further in detail. Let's go back to Esther chapter 5.
We're at 3.
And verse 3.
The book of Esther chapter 5, verse 3. Then said the king unto her, What wilt thou, Queen Esther, and what is thy request? It shall be even given thee to the half of the kingdom. So
when you go back to verse 9, he asked in Esther chapter 15, verse 9, he said, Esther, what is the matter? I am thy brother. Be of good cheer. Thou shalt not die. Though our command be general, come near. Right? So he held up the golden scepter and laid it upon her neck and embraced her and said, Speak unto me. Right? And asked her what all she wanted. Right? He basically just went in, girl, what you want? You can have whatever you like. Right? You can have whatever you like, man. Right? Let's go back. We'll be on chapter 5 still.
Come.
Where we stop
Verse
at?
4.
Verse 4. Let's jump down.
Okay, where you want to jump?
Verse 7.
Verse 7. All right, the book of Esther, chapter 5, verse 7.
We got to go and read down. Let's read down, because I want to.
All right, so you want me to start before?
Yeah, read.
All right. The book of Esther, chapter 5, verse 4. Then Esther answered, if it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him.
So she said, if it's good to you, let the king come with Haman. I'm going to prepare a banquet for y'all. All right? I want to throw a party for y'all. Y'all throw a party for us, let me throw a party for you. All right, not the Diddy, but read.
Then the king said, caused Haman to make haste, that he may do as Esther hath said, so that the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared.
Right, so guess what, man? The king said, hey, man, bring your butt on over here. Hurry up, all right? This one finna make me a feast, boy. All right, read.
Verse 6. And the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom, it shall be performed.
Well, he said, I give you half of everything, man. You can have whatever you like, man. It is,
Hey, boy. Hey, that's what they get on that divorce. You about to get that early. An early alimony.
But look. Well, she must be one fine sister to get all that, man, from the king.
Yeah.
He told her, you can have whatever you like.
Yeah.
Right? Let's read on.
Verse 7. Ooh, then answered Esther and said, my petition and my request is, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them, and I will do tomorrow as the king hath said.
So she said, I'm gonna do. If you allow me to do this, I'm gonna do exactly what you said. You allow me to do, right? That meaning if I could go in there to throw this party for you, I'll do it, man.
Good.
Right? But let's read on.
Verse 9. Then went Haman forth that day joyful and with a glad heart.
Meaning, guess what? Haman, he got that pride on him, man. Right? But read.
But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, that he stood not up nor moved for him, he was full of indignation against Mordecai.
Here it come again. He got this hatred toward Mordecai.
Yeah. Nevertheless, Haman refrained himself, and when he came home, he sent and called for his friends and Zeresh, his wife.
So guess what? He was mad that Mordecai didn't bow down, but he was so happy that he was invited to this party with the queen.
God.
He was like, man, forget this dude. But that spirit gonna still be on him though, right? But let's read.
Verse 11. And Haman told them of the glory of his riches and the multitude of his children and all the things wherein the king had promoted him and how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the king.
Right, so he at the house bragging, yeah, you know what I'm saying? King said, I'm finna be running stuff around this mug, man, you know what I'm saying, here in a minute, you know?
God.
Right, read.
Haman said, moreover, yea, Esther the queen did let no man come in with the king unto the banquet that she had prepared but myself.
Right.
And tomorrow I am invited unto her also with the king.
So guess what? He said, man, look, tomorrow, I'm finna be invited in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Baby, lay this out for me, you know what I'm saying? He's like, baby, lay this out, you know. Can't nobody be there but me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He don't even know, boy, she got a trick bag for him, though.
He hella puffed up, man.
I'm talking about he puffed up, right?
God.
Read.
Yet all this avails me nothing, so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate.
He said, this don't even matter. Long as I see this dude right here at the gate, this don't mean nothing until I get him. Right? He wanted to make an example out of Mordecai, man.
God.
Read.
Then said Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends unto him.
Mm-hmm.
Let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak thou unto the king that Mordecai may be hanged thereon.
So he said, dang, he said make a gallows 50 feet high, man.
You can tell them some Edomites, boy.
What you say?
I said, you can tell them some Edomites, they want to hang a nigga quick, boy.
Boy,
50 feet high, boy.
and you ain't
That's
lying.
crazy, boy. Then go thou in merrily with the king unto the banquet, and the thing pleased Haman.
Right? So, you know what? They said, you know what? Haman said, you know what? That's what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go hang his butt, then I'm going to come back.
Come,
You know what I'm saying?
come.
6 and verse 1.
Well, I had to finish that last part. And he caused the gallows to be made.
So he made the gallows read.
Come. And on that night could not the king sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And he commanded to bring the book of records of the Chronicles.
Right.
And they were read before the king.
So they was read before the king read.
That's my favorite part. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Teresh,
Mm-hmm.
the two kings' chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hands on King Ahasuerus.
Mm-hmm.
And the king said, what honor and dignity have been done to Mordecai for this? Then said the king's servant that ministered unto him, there is nothing done for him.
Right, so it said, but because you know what? This goes into no good deed is not done.
Yeah.
Right?
Good.
The Lord it's just a season to come back and get it for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But read.
God, verse 4.
No, jump down.
What do you want me to
No, verse 4.
Verse 4. And the king said, who is in the court? Now Haman was come into the outward court of the king's house to speak unto the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him.
Right, read.
And the king's servant said unto him, behold, Haman standeth in the court. And the king said, let him come in. So Haman came in, and the king said unto him, what shall be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor?
Right.
Now Haman thought in his heart, to whom would the king delight to do honor more than myself?
So he thinking about his damn self, man. Right? He said, who should the king delight more than me? You know what I'm saying? I do this. You
He
know?
with the Birdman.
Ooh, we got the Birdman. I'm talking about, boy, look, he probably doing it fast, though.
Yeah.
Right? You know, he ain't got no swag. Esau gonna do it
His
fast.
hands was red.
Esau ain't got no swag. He do it fast as hell.
I'm telling you.
Right?
Verse 7, and Haman answered the king, for the man whom the king delighteth to honor, let the royal apparel be brought, which the king useth to wear, and the horse that the king rideth upon, and the crown royal which is set upon his head. And let his apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes, that they may array the man withal whom the king delighteth to honor, and bring him on horseback through the street of the city.
Boy, he landed on thick, ain't he? He thought it was
Parade in that one,
He for the damn parade, boy.
and proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor.
Right, read.
Then the king said to Haman, make haste, and take the apparel and the horse, as thou hast said, and do even so to Mordecai the Jew,
Right.
that sitteth at the king's gate. Let none fail of all that thou hast spoken.
Right, read.
Then Haman
He read it, yeah.
That's my favorite part. Then took Haman the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai, and brought him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaimed before him, thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor.
Man, I'm tell you.
Boy, I know he was crushed, boy.
What they say? Well, I'm tell you something.
Man.
Well, he one of them people, man. What's that dude? I know me and Benaniyah used to laugh at that shit all the time. That man said, stick a quarter in his ass. He just played himself.
Man, I know he was sick to his stomach to go down the stairs, boy.
He was sick.
And he was stomping down them stairs like a little kid.
Wasn't it? Chapter 7, man. Let's get it.
Chapter 7. The book of Esther, chapter 7, verse 1. So the king and Haman came to banquet with Esther the queen. And the king said again unto Esther on the second day at the banquet of wine, What is thy petition, Queen Esther? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? And it shall be performed, even to the half of the kingdom.
He said, man, I'll give you half of this mug, man. He said, man, I'll give you half of it, baby. He said, baby, what you want? I'll give you half of it. Right?
Then Esther the queen answered and said, If I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request.
Right? Read.
For we are sold, and I and my people to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondsmen and bondswomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not contravail the king's damage.
Right, read.
Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, Who is he? And where is he that durst presume in his heart to do so?
So he said, man, king, like, who trying to do all this to y'all, right? Read.
And Esther said, The adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman. And Haman was afraid, but for the king and the queen, boy, he probably choked on that one.
Boy, he is choking. Watch how it go. Watch this.
Verse 7. And the king, arising from the banquet of the wine in his wrath, went into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen. For he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
Right, so he said, man, look at man. He said he seen the evil that was determined by the king. Meaning what? He seen that the king was pissed off.
Trying to kill him, boy.
Right?
God.
But he bowed. Now he trying to bow down to Esther, man. Trying to talk to Esther. Watch what the king do. This is my favorite part.
Yeah. Verse 8. Then the king returned.
Well, this is one of my favorite parts. Go ahead.
Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine. And Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was. Then said the king, Will he force the queen also before me?
Damn! Everyone like, damn. You gonna do this too?
Dang,
Oh, okay.
That's the worst place.
Boy, the Lord was laying it on thick on him, man.
Right? I got tears in my eyes. Boy, this thing here is hilarious.
Read.
As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face.
Oh, man. You know how they be on the face. That bag on the face. You know, they be standing there. They just put bag over and take him my screen. He put the bag over his face, man. This is the next good part. Verse 9.
Verse 9. And Harbana, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, Behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, Hang him thereon.
Right.
So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified.
Ooh.
That's that junk in David. Let their wickedness fall upon their head.
That's right.
God. Verse 8. Chapter 8, verse 1. On that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman, the Jews' enemy, unto Esther the queen. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her. And and the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman,
right,
and gave it unto Mordecai.
And gave it to Mordecai. He gave Mordecai the ring, man. Right?
And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman.
And Esther, do you see that? Ooh. Right, read.
Verse 3. And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite, and his device that he had devised against the Jews.
Right? So everything that he devised against the Jews, now she trying to reverse everything off of them, man. Read.
And the king held out the golden scepter towards Esther. So Esther rose and stood before the king and said, if it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and the thing seems right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews which are in all the king's provinces.
Right, read.
For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people? Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred?
Right, read.
Then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther, the queen, and to Mordecai the Jew, behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman.
Right, read.
And him they have hanged upon the gallows because he laid his hand upon the Jews.
Right, so he said, get what? He put his hands on the Jews. The Lord said, touch not my anointed, do my prophets no harm, man.
God.
Right, since he laid his hands upon us, same thing, the same way he tried to dig a ditch for us, he gonna dig it for himself, right?
Made the enemy our footstool.
Right, read.
Write ye also for the Jews, as it liketh you, in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring.
And seal it with the king's ring, read.
For the writing which is written in the king's name and sealed with the king's ring,
right,
may no man reverse.
And meaning what? This is signed, sealed, delivered, right? Jump down to verse 17.
Verse 17. And in every province and in every city, whichsoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness.
He said the Jews had joy and gladness, read.
A feast and a good day.
He said a feast and a good day, read.
And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them.
It said the fear of the Jews fell upon them. Go to Psalms chapter 18, right? And he said many of them became Jews. This is the answer of why they became Jews. Meaning they can't physically become a Jew, meaning what? They had to get down or lay down.
God.
Right? Go to Psalm chapter 18, read verse 43.
The book of Psalms, chapter 18, you said 43. Verse 43. Thou hast delivered me from the strivings of people, of other people, and thou hast made me the head of the heathen.
Right, going into the same thing where we read.
God, a people whom I have not known shall serve me.
They're gonna serve me, read.
As soon as they hear of me, they shall obey me. The strangers shall submit themselves unto me.
They said the strangers, they meaning what they have, they mean they had to submit to us. They can't be us, they got to submit, right? That's the only way this is gonna have to be. You're gonna have to submit. It ain't no, I'm gonna be just like y'all. No, you gonna submit.
God.
There's levels to this. No, you gonna damn sure submit. Every heathen, guess what? When the king come back, every heathen gonna submit. You can't be one of us. You're gonna have to submit. Let's go back to Esther's, man. Let's go back to Esther's chapter.
You want me to read 17 again, or you want me to go on to 9?
No, we're going to 9. We're reading, no. Because that's going into the structure of Nicanor. But we read verse 9, verse 13.
The book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 13. Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow, also according unto this day's decree, and let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows.
So he said that he got to hang Haman's 10 sons now, right?
Verse 14. And the king commanded it so to be done. And the decree was given at Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons.
And they hanged his 10 sons. All praise to the Most High, right? Read.
For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on that 14th day also of the month of Adar,
Mm-hmm.
and slew 300 men at Shushan, but on the prey they had laid not their hand.
Right? So on the prey they laid not their hand. Read.
Verse 16. But the other Jews that were in the king's provinces gathered themselves together and stood for their lives,
And stood for their lives. Read.
and had rest from their enemies, and slew of the foes 75,000.
Right? So it slew 75,000. Read.
But they laid not their hands on the prey.
So, but they laid not their hands on the spoils. Read.
Come. On the 13th day of the month of Adar, on the 14th day of the same rested they, and made it a day of feasting and gladness.
Going into the feast of Purim.
Come.
Verse 18.
But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th thereof, and on the 15th day.
It goes into the destruction of Nicanor. Destruction of Nicanor and the feast of Purim, they go back to back. They say on the 13th, 14th, and the 15th day. They meaning they go back to back. Read.
Of the same they rested, and made it a day of feasting and gladness.
And made it a day of feasting and gladness. Go to 2 Maccabees. Go to 2 Maccabees. Chapter 15. We're going to read verse 36 on down.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 15, verse 36. And they ordained all with a common decree, in no case to let that day pass without solemnity.
Like without gathering, read.
But to celebrate the 13th day of the 12th month, which in the Syrian tongue is called Adar. The day before Mordecai's day.
Before Mordecai's day.
Said Maccabees.
What's the day before Mordecai's day? Purim. This goes in the feast of Purim.
God.
Right, read.
Thus went it. Thus went it with Nicanor.
So it goes. He said, "Thus with it," meaning celebrate that with the Nicanor. Right. They go one and the same, back to back. Right, read it.
And from that time forth, the Hebrews had the city in their power.
So the Hebrews had the city in their power. Read.
And here will I make an end.
Right.
And if I have, you want me to keep going?
Where you at?
37. I'm about to read 38.
Yeah, read.
Verse 38. And if I have done well, and as it is fitting, as is fitting the story, it is that which I desire. But if I slenderly and meanly, it is that which I could attain also.
Right, read.
Unto. Salakia.
Could attain unto. Read.
For as it is hurtful to drink wine or water alone, and as wine mingled with water is pleasant and delight of the taste, even so speech finely framed delighteth the ears of them that read the story, and here shall be an end.
Right, because that's why we celebrate the destruction of Nicanor and we celebrate the Purim together, man. Right, this is the reason why we celebrate these things together. Go to Esther chapter 9, verse 22. We're gonna show you something in this time right here. When brothers and sisters, they wonder why we give gifts. This is one of the high holy days that you give gifts on.
God.
Right?
God.
Read that.
The book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 22. As the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy.
Sir, from sorrow to joy, read.
And from mourning into a good day.
And from mourning into the good day, read.
That they should make them days of feasting and joy. And of sending portions one to another and gifts to the poor.
You see that? During this time, this is what we give. This is what we give to the poor. Why you think on their 12th month what they try to do? Think about it.
Salvation, giveaways and all that.
Do you see that?
We try to do that Christmas.
Yeah. But this is where they try to get it from. right? They want to take they try to take our customs in every kind of way, man.
They be evil, boy.
What I'm talking about, they be bucking hard, bro.
God.
Right? But this is when the time that they give, like you say, this is the time that they give gifts.
Yeah, send
right?
portions.
They send portions, right?
Yeah.
Verse 28, man.
Verse 28. Verse 28. And that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, and every city. And that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews, nor the memorial of the parish from their seed.
No, the more of them perish from their seed. Meaning, this is ordained for us to keep these things, man. Like, we got to remember these things. That's why it's ordained for us to keep it.
That's a statue.
It's a statue,
God.
right? Right. This is definitely a statue for us to keep these things, man. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for tuning in, man. Y'all share the video, help us push this truth around the four corners of the earth. Earth. Say follow God's law, statutes, and commandment. The commandment we having today is Esther chapter 9 in verse 18.
The book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 18. But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th thereof, and on the 15th day of the same they rested, and they made it a day of feasting and gladness.
Right, going into what? The Feast of Purim, man, the destruction of Nicanor.
Hallelujah.
And with that, we give our honor and praise to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Shai. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for tuning in. Y'all share the video, help us put this truth around the four corners of the earth. And happy feast day to brothers and sisters, man. And with that, we say shalom.
Shalom.